already know what time it is. I'm starving, so hurry up. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Come on.
This is the story of Larius Brownlee and Zara Hashemi, a couple who became famous by sharing every detail of their love life online. But things took a shocking turn when one of them was shot in the head. After the shooting, something even more unbelievable happened. Zara decided to take him back after he got out of jail. Larius and Zara were popular on TikTok, often sharing their relationship with the world. They seemed like the perfect couple, always posting about their romantic moments and happy days together. But behind closed doors, their relationship was anything but perfect. The question that many still ask is, why would anyone take back someone who hurt them so badly? In this story, we'll uncover the twists and drama that led to a violent act, a public outcry, and a decision to forgive someone who nearly took their life. Stay with us as we uncover how things spiraled out of control and what happened after the violence. Larius Brownlee and Zara Hashemi became well known on TikTok by sharing their relationship with the world. Their videos showed moments of laughter, affection, and playful teasing. They posted everything: dates, surprises, and deep conversations about love. Their content attracted millions of views. Followers admired how they seemed to understand each other so well. Many believed they were the perfect couple, a rare example of true love in the age of social media. People watched as Larius showered Zara with gifts and compliments. In return, she would express how lucky she felt to have him. Their videos were filled with romantic gestures, hugs, kisses, and late-night talks. But what people saw online wasn't the full story. Behind the smiles and affectionate posts, things were different. Fans had no idea what was really happening when the cameras were off. Clips from their videos show how convincing their love seemed. In one, Zara calls Larius her soulmate. In another, he tells her she is the only person he could ever be with. Their words sounded sincere, making it easy for people to believe in their relationship. What the audience didn't realize was that their story wasn't as perfect as it seemed. At first, Larius Brownlee and Zara Hashemi's relationship looked like a love story that many people dreamed of. But over time, signs of trouble started to appear. Their happy videos were mixed with clips of arguments, tense moments, and uncomfortable interactions that some viewers ignored, while others saw as red flags. The couple frequently argued, and instead of keeping their problems private, they let the world watch. Their fights often centered around loyalty, cheating, and jealousy. Larius was protective, but at times, it crossed into possessiveness. He questioned Zara about the smallest things: who she talked to, where she went, and even what she posted. In return, Zara would either brush off his concerns with sarcasm or get defensive, leading to more arguments. In one video, Larius brought up a scenario where she might go out without him. He asked if she thought it was wrong for him to go to a club with his friends while there were other women around. Zara said it was disrespectful, but when she flipped the question on him, his response was different. He justified why it was okay for him but not for her. The conversation turned into a debate, and neither of them was willing to back down. At first, their followers thought these fights were just part of a passionate relationship, but over time, it became clear that these weren't just small disagreements. The same topics, loyalty, boundaries, and control, kept coming up again and again. Larius wanted things his way, and when Zara pushed back, the tension only grew stronger. The way they spoke to each other revealed even deeper problems. Instead of expressing feelings in a calm and respectful way, their conversations often turned into power struggles. Larius needed reassurance that he was the most important person in Zara's life, and when he didn't feel that way, his insecurities would take over. Zara, on the other hand, didn't always take his concerns seriously. Sometimes, instead of answering his questions directly, she would make jokes or dismiss him. This would only make Larius more frustrated, leading to more arguments. One of the most revealing fights they had was about the idea of soulmates. Larius asked Zara what a soulmate was, and she jokingly replied that a soulmate could be a pet. He pushed her for a serious answer, but when she didn't give him the response he wanted, he grew irritated. This small disagreement became a bigger argument about whether or not she truly loved him. This was a pattern in their relationship. A simple conversation would turn into a heated debate. The way they handled their problems showed a lack of trust. Larius needed constant validation, and when he didn't get it, he assumed the worst. Zara felt like she couldn't say the right thing, no matter what she did. As time went on, their fights escalated. What started as arguments turned into something more concerning. In some of their videos, the tension between them was obvious. There were moments where Larius would grab Zara's arm or get in her face while arguing. Zara, in return, would push him away or mock him in a way that only made him angrier. One clip showed Zara playfully trying to leave the room during an argument, only for Larius to block the door. While they laughed it off in the video, some viewers noticed how uncomfortable the moment actually was. Another video showed Larius telling Zara to go to sleep repeatedly, and when she refused, he physically restrained her. At first, it seemed playful, but the longer it went on, the clearer it became that Zara was struggling to get away. These weren't just jokes between a couple anymore. These were warning signs of a relationship that was becoming dangerous. Despite all of this, they continued to post online as if nothing was wrong. Their fans saw only what they wanted them to see. But for those paying attention, the truth was becoming harder to ignore. The tension was rising, and it was only a matter of time before something serious happened. Larius and Zara's relationship had been on a downward spiral for some time, and it was clear that things were getting worse. The arguments had grown more intense, with the same issues of jealousy, control, and insecurity boiling over every time. But on this particular day, everything reached a breaking point. It started as just another argument, one of many that had been escalating for days. The fight was about something small, just a comment Zara made that triggered Larius. But this time, the anger between them was more intense than ever before. The shouting got louder, the insults sharper. Larius, filled with rage, couldn't control himself. In the heat of the moment, he reached for a gun. Without thinking, without any warning, he shot Zara in the head. The sound of the shot rang out, and everything went silent. The moment was shocking, and it felt like time stood still. The cameras weren't rolling this time, but the consequences of what had just happened were devastating. Zara collapsed, and the room was filled with panic. Larius was stunned. He had never thought it would go this far, but now it was too late to turn back. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, and Zara was quickly taken to the hospital. The injury was severe, she had been shot in the head, and her life hung in the balance. The doctors worked tirelessly, trying to save her, but no one knew what the future would hold. Fans who had followed their relationship online were in shock. People who had admired them and watched their every move now found themselves asking how something so violent could happen between two people who once seemed so in love. Family members and friends were devastated, struggling to come to terms with what had occurred. Was this really the same couple who had shown so much affection in their videos? The betrayal was clear to everyone watching from the outside. The couple who had seemed to have it all had crumbled, and Zara was paying the price for it. In the wake of the shooting, Zara's fans quickly set up a GoFundMe campaign to help with her medical expenses. The outpouring of support was overwhelming. People who had followed her journey from the beginning offered their donations, hoping to help her through what was one of the toughest moments of her life. But as the days went by, some started to question the truth behind the couple's story. People began to wonder if there was more to the incident than what they had been told. Was it really just a tragic accident, or had there been warning signs that no one had noticed before? As more details about their toxic relationship emerged, fans who had initially rallied around Zara began to feel betrayed. The violence, the constant fighting, and the control, it all started to make sense. This wasn't just a random act of violence, it was the result of a relationship built on unhealthy dynamics. Some people started asking for their donations back, feeling that they had been misled. The public backlash was strong, and the couple's once adoring fans now felt confused and hurt. The story that had once seemed like a fairy tale turned into a nightmare, leaving everyone questioning how it had gone so wrong. The incident not only shattered Zara's life but also left a mark on the people who had followed her every step, showing how dangerous unchecked emotions and toxic relationships can be. After the shooting, Larius faced serious legal consequences. He was arrested and charged with the crime. His time in jail was marked by reflection and, according to him, remorse. In interviews and statements, Larius expressed regret for what he had done, but many saw it as more of an attempt to justify his actions rather than take full responsibility. He claimed that he didn't mean to hurt Zara, that the anger just got out of control. He said he loved her and couldn't imagine his life without her. But even as he showed remorse, there was something troubling about how he spoke. It seemed like he was trying to shift the blame, portraying himself as someone who made a terrible mistake rather than someone who had intentionally hurt the person he loved. Larius also used his time in jail to manipulate the situation. He reached out to Zara, apologizing and pleading for her forgiveness. He knew that she was the key to his future, and so he worked hard to win her back, even using their past shared memories and the public sympathy he still had. When Larius was finally released from jail, something unexpected happened. Zara took him back. Many were shocked by her decision, but for her, it wasn't so simple. Zara had been through so much, and yet she felt a strong emotional pull to Larius. Despite everything, she chose to forgive him. Forgiveness in abusive relationships is complicated. Often, people in toxic relationships become emotionally dependent on their abuser. Zara might have felt that without Larius, she would be lost. The bond between them, built on years of sharing their lives online, was hard to break. In some cases, this pattern of forgiveness is linked to what experts call Stockholm Syndrome, where the victim begins to identify with and feel affection for the person who harmed them. Zara had experienced a cycle of emotional manipulation, where Larius would apologize and promise change, only for things to spiral again. Yet, despite the violence, she believed that he could change. Psychologically, many people who stay with an abuser find it difficult to leave because they've been made to feel guilty or responsible for the abuser's actions. Larius's apologies and promises of change played into this dynamic, making it even harder for Zara to walk away. She was caught in a cycle of hope and hurt. When Zara and Larius got back together, the public response was mixed. Some fans were happy to see them reunite, believing in the idea that love could conquer all. They shared messages of support, expressing their belief that people can change and that forgiveness is a powerful act. On the other hand, many of their followers felt betrayed. They couldn't understand how Zara could take Larius back after everything that had happened. Social media was flooded with comments, with some accusing her of making a mistake while others expressed concern for her well-being. In interviews, both Zara and Larius defended their decision, claiming that they had worked through their issues and were committed to moving forward. They said that they had learned from their past and were trying to rebuild a healthier relationship. But the truth was more complicated. While they claimed to have changed, the toxic patterns in their relationship were hard to break. Their reconciliation didn't sit well with everyone, and many felt that their story was a dangerous example of what happens when abuse is forgiven without real change. Some questioned if Zara had truly forgiven Larius or if she was still trapped in a toxic cycle, unable to escape the grip of a relationship that had caused so much pain. It was a difficult and emotional journey for them both, but one that raised important questions about love, forgiveness, and the lasting impact of abuse. After everything that had happened, Larius and Zara tried to pick up the pieces and rebuild their relationship. They wanted to show the world that they had worked through their issues and were moving forward. They returned to TikTok, posting videos together, trying to prove to their followers that their love was still strong. However, the reaction from the public was far from positive. Many of their followers were unsure of what to think. Some saw them as a couple trying to make it work, while others felt uncomfortable with their return to the platform. The comments section was filled with mixed opinions. Some praised them for trying to rebuild, while others questioned whether this was just another attempt to gain sympathy or attention. Despite their efforts, it was clear that their relationship still carried the weight of the past. They seemed to be constantly trying to convince their followers that things were different now, but the cracks were visible to those who were paying attention. Even though they tried to move past the shooting and the toxic behavior, the relationship remained unstable. There were more arguments, some even recorded for their followers to see. Larius continued to display possessive behavior, questioning Zara about who she was talking to and what she was doing when he wasn't around. Zara, on the other hand, seemed to have moments of frustration that quickly escalated into emotional outbursts. Their arguments became even more public, as they fought over petty issues that had been building up for months. They tried to show their followers that everything was fine, but it was clear that their relationship was still filled with unresolved tension. What was supposed to be a fresh start was turning out to be another cycle of unhealthy behavior. They were trapped in a pattern of arguing, making up, and repeating the same mistakes. The emotional toll on both of them was evident, but neither seemed willing to walk away for good. As their drama continued, it began to take a toll on their fans. Many of their followers, especially younger ones, looked up to them as an example of what a relationship should be. They saw the couple's romantic gestures and thought it was what true love looked like. But as their toxic behavior became more obvious, it started to raise concerns about the message they were sending. For younger audiences, the line between love and control became blurred. Fans began to question whether what they were witnessing was normal in a relationship. The constant back and forth between love and abuse showed how easy it is for unhealthy behaviors to go unnoticed. The couple's videos became a cautionary tale, with fans unsure of how to view their relationship. For some, it was a reminder of the complexities of love and forgiveness. For others, it was a troubling example of how a toxic relationship can thrive in the public eye. The moral implications were clear. Broadcasting a relationship filled with manipulation, possessiveness, and violence to millions of viewers, especially younger ones, made it difficult to separate reality from what they saw on screen. The line between entertainment and real-life consequences started to blur, leaving many fans questioning what they were actually supporting. Their story raised an important question: how much responsibility do influencers have in shaping the behavior of their followers? And what happens when the relationship is more about the drama than the true love they once claimed to share? So, why did Zara take Larius back after everything that happened? Despite the violence and the pain, she chose to forgive him and welcome him back into her life. The truth is, people who stay in abusive relationships often find themselves trapped in a cycle that's hard to break. There are many factors at play: emotional dependence, guilt, and even fear of being alone. But at the heart of it all, Zara may have truly believed that things could change. The consequences of staying in such a relationship are real. Abuse isn't always physical, it's emotional and psychological as well. The longer someone stays in that cycle, the harder it becomes to leave. Healthy boundaries are essential in any relationship. Without them, trust breaks down, and manipulation can take over. As we finish this story, ask yourself, can love ever truly be unconditional, or do we often mistake obsession and control for love? This story shows how love can become twisted, and how the line between caring for someone and controlling them can blur. We want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever seen someone in a toxic relationship, or been in one yourself? Share your opinions in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about love, forgiveness, and the importance of knowing when to walk away. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on toxic relationships and true crime stories. Thank you for watching.